So what's particularly cool about the Chinese elm is that they're gonna grow pretty fast and they're pretty forgiving too. Now the tree itself is only 3 years old, so it's still a young tree. I know most of the time, if you guys have seen us before, we have trees that are much thicker, a lot older. Usually they're about 10 years old, but these right here are still much younger. But they're very firm in their place because they've been drilled into a rock. Well, they haven't been drilled into the rock. The rock had a channel drilled into it, and then they put the sapling in it and they let it grow. Once it got to the point where it was completely filling the channel, it was overflowing onto the rock itself, that's when it's ready to go. It will continue to grow and it will continue to start getting wider and surrounding and slowly starting to swallow the rock. It's honestly it's a fascinating thing to watch, especially technically in slow motion because the tree does grow, you know, in the grand scheme of things pretty fast, but you know, it's still a tree. It's still going to grow a little slow. Although, because it does grow fast for a tree, I guarantee in about like another 2 to 3 years, you're going to see a massive amount of the rock gone because it's growing. And then as far as height goes, most of the trees are only going to grow to about 48 inches in height, which is pretty nice. You know, so it's going to grow tall, but it's really not going to grow that tall. It's a fairly smaller tree, definitely young, but again, all the trees are about 3 years old, so they're still going to be fairly small. But there's a lot of potential to this as well. Now, as I was saying, there's two methods of restricting the growth on these trees. Method one is, like I said, keeping it in the small pot. But method two is going to be to prune it as well. So if you prune the branches on a yearly basis, you're only looking at about 4 inches of growth. Now, if you let it grow wild, you don't touch it from here on out, you're gonna be looking at about 12 inches of growth. These guys are really good. You know, again, most trees are optimally kept outside. This one is one of the few trees that you can actually keep inside. And so what happens is, you know, obviously you want to keep it near a window. You want to make sure that it stays, that it gets 6 to 8 hours of sun. However, while most trees usually require a winter dormancy, these trees are actually pretty good with not actually getting a winter dormancy. You could keep it inside and it'll do just fine. It's gonna act like an evergreen. So while the leaves may turn a little bit yellow, they're probably not gonna drop the leaves if you keep it inside. Now, if you leave it outside, yes, it will go through a dormancy, it will drop all its leaves, and you know, it's gonna look like a stick. But all it's doing is it's storing all of the excess energy that it doesn't need to use into you know, waiting for spring, and it's gonna just like explode in a bunch of foliage and new branches. What I usually recommend is, as far as watering goes, well, first and foremost, this one likes having the topsoil a little bit dry. So what we'll do is we'll rub our finger on the soil itself. I'm picking up a little bit dirt here. That means it's hydrated, but we're probably gonna wanna water it pretty soon here. The easiest way to water these guys is to find a bowl that, you know, the water level is about this tall right here. You place the bonsai in the pot itself and just let it soak up the moisture that it needs. Let it sit there for a minute or two, and then go ahead and remove the soil, or sorry, remove the pot from the water, and just let any of the excess water drain out from the drainage hole on the very bottom. If you want to leave it in this pot, you're absolutely welcome to. This is a ceramic pot, so it's going to provide lots of good breathability. However, if you decide to repot it, or in the future you need to repot it because it's getting bigger, the most important thing, and this is a non-negotiable, make sure the pot has plenty of drainage. That is going to be the most important thing. I would say that's rule number one when owning a bonsai. If you've never done bonsai before, if you've never owned a tree, you know, that you're going to keep in a pot, the number one rule is to make sure that the pot has drainage. I don't care if the pot is clay, ceramic, any kind of terracotta, plastic, or resin. If the tree does not have the proper drainage, the tree will die. Now, this is a ceramic pot. We usually recommend ceramic or clay when it comes to pots because the material is a lot more porous, meaning it's a lot more breathable. However, whether you keep it in a clay, ceramic, any kind of terracotta, plastic, resin, whatever, make sure the pot has plenty of drainage. Again, if you've seen us before, you'll know that typically we send out a plastic pot. With these right here, we're doing a special deal for the next week where if you purchase this tree right here, you're also going to get the ceramic pot with it as well, which we don't normally do. The reason why is because the tree is a little heavier, right? I mean, the material's a little heavier. So we want to guarantee the free shipping, which again, you know, this week, if you purchase this tree, you're gonna get the ceramic pot. So regardless of weight, we're gonna give you the free shipping. We're gonna give you the priority mail as well. We wanna make sure the tree gets to you fast and safe and it doesn't stay out of the sun for too long. The best part is on top of that, you're gonna be getting care instructions so you know how to take care of the tree. So if you've never done bonsai before, you'll know how to take care of the tree. And then also you're going to get our contact information. So if your tree does anything weird, reach out to us, we'll get you situated. There's seven states that we don't ship to. We don't ship to Alaska, Hawaii, Washington, Ohio, Virginia, Texas, or Florida. So if you live in any of those 7 states, I do apologize, but we do ship everywhere else in the continental United States. Unfortunately, we don't ship outside of it, so I'm sorry, Kelvin.